Last week, we took a look into the Shosha light machine gun, going in depth on the history, how it operates, and how it was used by French soldiers in World War I. Today, this Christmas Day, we're going to be headed into the cold battlefields of the Brusilov Offensive. In early 1916, the Allies were under great pressure from the Central Powers along the Western Front. The French had their backs against the wall at Fort Vaux and Verdun. As well as the Italians on the Sunder River, Russia needed to help relieve some of the pressure off the Western Front. General Alexei Brusilov, a 63-year-old cavalryman and aristocrat, suggested a plan to attack the Austro-Hungarian forces in the southwestern front in Galicia. Brusilov's plan was to attack the Austro-Hungarians swiftly. With a large amount of Austro-Hungarian forces fighting Italy, Brusilov had the numerical advantage in Galicia for his offensive. Although some Russian generals opposed this offensive and was more convinced that they should stay on the defense, Tsar Nicholas II approved of Brusilov's plan. The offensive began on June 4, 1916, against the Austro-Hungarian 4th Army at the city of Lutsk. Beginning with an artillery barrage of nearly 2,000 guns on a 200-mile-long stretch, from the Bukovina region all the way down to the Carpathian Mountains, Austro-Hungarian troops led by the confident Archduke Joseph Ferdinand outnumbered Russian troops 200,000 to 150,000. But, thanks to the extremely successful artillery barrage, this advantage was gone. Brusilov's troops advanced and took 26,000 prisoners in a single day. In 2 days, Brusilov broke the 4th Army and effectively ended Ferdinand's career, with over 130,000 casualties and the capture of over 200,000 prisoners, forced Austro-Hungarian commander Konrad von Hotzendorf to close down an offensive against Italy. Guns and men had to be turned east to help face against Brusilov's offensive. Actually, convinced that the danger was imminent, Hotzendorf turned to his German counterpart Erich von Falkenhayn that they're facing the greatest threat in the war so far, which took him completely by surprise. Falkenhayn was forced to release German divisions from the west to help fight with the Austro-Hungarians in the east. This transfer of troops allowed an opening in German lines and allowed a French counterattack at Verdun. Brusilov's troops continued to absolutely demolish the Austro-Hungarian lines with each passing day. He acted quickly and struck at the weak points of the enemy lines. The crushing victories of Russian troops led by Brusilov was extremely effective, to the point where Germany had to halt one of its own offensives along the Western Front to help in an attempt to stop the general. But by September 1916, Russian resources were depleting rapidly, and the Brusilov offensive was forced to be shut down on September 20th, 1916, marking an end to one of the most successful Allied offensives in the war. Dubbed the Iron General, Brusilov's men loved and respected the general. Basing his attacks on swiftness and absolute preparedness for war, the offensive cost Austria-Hungary a total of 1.5 million men with over 400,000 taken prisoner, and the offensive gained over 25,000 square kilometers of territory. Because of this single offensive, Austria-Hungary was never able to recover for the rest of the war. It was reduced to merely playing defense and holding trenches against their enemies, leaving basically just Germany to fend for themselves along the Western Front for the final 2 years of the war. Actually, the Germans realized Brusilov's effective strategy and began to build upon it. With the spring offensive of 1918 utilizing stormtroopers, Germany put Brusilov's strategy to great effect towards the end of the war. But it wasn't until World War II that this strategy was refined and dubbed as Blitzkrieg, which we know was a fast and effective strategy and pulled many victories for Germany in World War II. The collapse of the Russian Empire completely overshadowed the military success of the Brusilov Offensive, which is a shame. But it wasn't completely forgotten, and the strategy was also utilized by Russian troops again in World War II against Germany, which was then evolved into modern warfare with armored warfare. So, that's the Brusilov Offensive for you. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Battlefield 1 History, and let me know in the comments down below of what you think I should cover next. I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, and as always, it's been BloodHound, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.